let's just jump in. All right. So imagine you
Mm-hmm.
achieved all your dreams.
Mm.
Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
then I need you to draw your impact at that moment.
Draw my impact. Damn. You have to know that I'm very bad at drawing in
That's
general.
fine. The only rule is you can't write any words down, but
Hmm.
it can be scribbles, it can be abstract, you go nuts.
Does this question puzzle a lot of people
Yeah,
other
and
than me?
you're not gonna get graded. So just whatever comes to mind, like at that moment, you've achieved all your dreams,
Hmm.
and then you want to like imagine like your impact at that moment. What how would you visualize that?
It has to be the impact or the
What
achievement itself.
whatever comes to you, whatever you want to draw.
It might sound like a very lazy response, but then if I do hit all my goals, then actually there will be no impact because I want to be detached.
Whatever that looks like visually,
Yeah.
draw it.
So
Yeah.
I want to be gone, actually. Like I can be detached from everyone so that I don't have to interact with anyone. Because I only interact for because I have to make money.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Right.
I I feel you, bro. Like,
Yeah.
uh,
Hmm.
I'll tell you a story after after you draw. I'll tell you a funny story about that.
It'll be a funny drawing.
You
But I have
got
to
it?
show you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Show me and describe it. Yeah.
It's a coconut tree.
Okay. And what does it represent for you?
Um, I guess the image of me being in solitude has some element of coconut trees. So it's a place with coconut tree where I don't have to be bothered by anyone. So it's kind of like castaway.
Yeah, can't do it. But why do you have that? Like, what about that attracts you, like that lifestyle?
It's just my personality. I don't really like being around people that much.
Mhm.
It drains me a lot. And that's why I try to focus a lot. And one of the reasons why I do work hard on building these kind of startups is also because I cannot be in a kind of a corporate environment that long. It just doesn't work out. Like basically, at some point, I just get fed up and just say like, "Yo, these are a bunch of idiots. Don't want to work with
Yeah.
them." So that's
No.
why I have to do a short-term projects, launch it out quickly. And that's why also like working things on project base work much better for me as well. So at some point, I think one of my dreams was indeed to be financially kind of independent enough so that I don't have to do economic activities and I can be in solitude for longer, like whenever I want to, basically.
Uh, so why not, like, I don't know, like, just commit yourself to a monastery and just like become a monk? You can do
I
that
th
now. You don't have to build
Yeah,
a
it's
business to
true.
do it.
But I do have a lot of fun. So I guess like the term hack, like we had this discussion before as well, is very broad. One of the reasons why I find it interesting to be like living is because I get to discover a lot of new things. So I never like repeating things. That's why you also see me going into doing these kind of business that is very different from what I am used to before. And then I keep changing industries as well whenever I do a new thing. So, look, for example, so my first job was actually a digital marketer, advertiser, like before my interns. So my internships were on finance. And then I found it to be ridiculous because everybody was so dick hard about money. And then they're
Mm,
very like assholes,
mm,
it's finance. Didn't like it. And then I actually went to start selling mobile games, doing
yeah.
marketing. And then I had my military service, right? So that
Mhm.
was another chance to experience something new. And then after I came back, I like during the service, only thing I could do like to pass time whenever I'm not on the ship was actually to study things. So that's where I actually started kind of digging more into computer science. I was a computer science major. I was just not interested in it. I was
Mhm.
able to, and I did do it for a long time, but then I didn't think it would be my career. But then after army, I switched to computer science. That's how I started the first career in startups. Then after a few startups, we had that whole saga here with the political unrest in Hong Kong
Yeah.
and also the COVID following
Mhm.
afterward. So that period, basically, I switched out and went into consulting,
Mm.
which was interesting. I was always kind of those kind of mental model guy. I like
Mhm. Yeah,
doing
yeah.
systems architecture, like large kind of high level abstract designs. So consulting definitely fits in for that. It's just that I got tired of being in a consulting firm. So that's why I did other things. And then the most recent job before this one was actually I was in a bakery,
Mhm. Yeah, you tell
scaling
me
that
about that.
company.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see my trajectory is like I switch industries, I switch professions,
What
and
are you
now
looking for? Like, what is the
just something new. It's more like, so I acquired this new mental model from this new job. Can I apply it in some other place?
just for
Because
the
that's
fun
how
of it,
the
like
model
like
grows.
the Joker style? You know, you just
No,
you
I think
yeah.
like when I did, so when I did startups, right? And then I first apply computer science, right? And then I start acquiring other elements. For example, like team management, grow like a QA. Because when I first started, I was just like, what is React kind of guy?
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I knew how to code, but then like coding and then programming and then software engineering and then product engineering, those are like very different level
I
of
agree.
work.
Yeah.
And then in order to call yourself a software engineer, you actually have to know how to operate the entire like back end. And
Hmm.
that is not the back end code, actually. To me,
Yeah.
back end code, front end code is just text.
Yeah.
How to deploy it, how to make the infrastructure, how to make your operations support different types of errors and problems to be able to detect and track and find errors fast. So we get all these level of like, I guess at some point someone coined it as DevOps, right? So I got to that point of going from code to actually building a full stack to expanding it into infrastructure. And then I didn't have much choice because we were doing this AI technology that was brand new back then, because
Hmm.
that's when the back propagation first came out. And then we were doing AI. And then we were just like 20 something year old kids. We had to figure things out. We figured out that it doesn't run on CPU. Everybody was saying, oh, it runs on GPU. We have to learn CUDA
Hmm.
and then all these things. Like this process made me learn how to operate things on a tech level, right?
Hmm.
And then when I actually scaled a little bit more, and then when I went to consulting, my job was actually to use these kind of operational structure design and apply it into business operational. So it's more like operational optimization. And apparently there is a discipline for this called enterprise architecture. So of course I will slap it on my offer
Hmm.
because it's fancy. It's easier to build decks. But then like when you say something, you become that, right? So years of
Absolutely.
practice actually ended up me understanding more kind of fundamentals of why IT exists.
Hmm.
And then you get to the point of like looking back at the history of business IT, right? I mean, the first IT of any kind of business was IBM. It's an integrated business machine that helps you automate accounting. That's the whole purpose of computer, actually. Like right now, it's super fancy,
Hmm.
but then you can't really ignore the fundamentals is IT is information technology because you're supposed to help people engineer how information flows.
Yeah.
And you do it by different types of logic gates, which is computers and programs, and then fitting operations around it. So once I came to this part, and then I did it mostly for like tech companies, digital banks. um, bank's startup or whatever. So I've been doing IT for these companies. And then I was realizing, hey, if I know this much, can I actually help an operating business that lacks IT and then implement an IT architecture that can actually get them to a different types of scale faster?
Hmm.
Because there were like AI was maturing a little bit more. The cost of computing is going down so much that it's not, as long as you don't buy the dumb enterprise apps, you won't be spending that much actually these days to do the same thing that enterprise app does at a very smaller scale. You can just do it and do it with Zapier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
It's the
that's how
exactly
I
the
began.
complexities are getting
Yeah.
simplified and like abstracted away and like can be used by tiny teams, right?
Yeah. So only thing you need is someone to design the logic for you, someone to build the operations for you and champion it so that the transformation happens. And by transformation means training and also owning it so that people, because people will always resist.
Okay.
I mean, that's one of the posts I wrote recently too. Someone said, it would be nice to have a GPT to write custom enterprise apps. I mean, that's great, but then the enterprise apps don't fail because it lacks features. It actually has more features than you need,
Mm.
all of them. The reason it fails is because people reject it. Yeah. So unless you change all those people to GPT as well, you're not really solving the problem. You're just
uh,
making the delivery faster.
and how? So let me just kind of
Go back.
recap. No, I'm not going back. I just because
No.
I want to keep going, like
Mm.
unfolding this, but I want to reiterate it to you just to make sure we're on the same page, right? So I started with, why not be a monk if all you wanted was solitude, right? And then you were like, I'm a curious guy. I like to know how the world works,
Hmm.
and you kind of went to school for computer science, but it wasn't interesting to you because you were like, how does this apply to the real world that has real people? And then you went into finance, you did a little bit of advertising, and then things started shaping up for you. You're like, wait a minute, all these different pieces, I can kind of put them together and implement them in the real world, right? And create transformations by organizing people's information, right? Using what I've learned so far from computers and whatever, and then
Hmm.
also giving kind of the blueprint to these teams that need this kind of like transformation where like this is how you can work with your information and this is how you can scale your contribution to society,
Yeah.
in like an efficient way. Is that fair description of what
Yeah,
you were saying?
I think it ties back to our like company's vision as well. So like if you go to our page, you go to our footer,
Yeah.
then we put it in a very small text, our vision.
Okay.
And then actually our vision, so that's one of the reasons why our like co-founding team is together as well. When I was looking for people to do, I mean, I don't actually do that. I don't look for, I waited until I found the people that I thought would have
Mhm.
similar values and the similar kind of endurance and caliber to work together. At the same time, the skill sets that complements each other. So like one another co-founder, you see her on Twitter time to time, is Joey. So she's a designer. She's super young. It's a very interesting background. She's also super like I think the most work-life balanced person I've ever seen. But
Okay.
then she also delivers, and she's
Mhm.
very resilient. So these kind of people also with a similar value. So when we first met, right, I did a workshop, and then they all thought we were gonna do talk about what business we were gonna build, but then our workshop was all about vision.
Yeah.
What kind of contribution do you want to leave as a company?
Uh-huh.
And then that's why our vision actually says we architect time, balance, and reason for people. So
Time,
what we think is
balance,
people are wasting a
reason.
lot of time,
Mhm.
misguided by misinformation, mispurpose, and then it's not their fault. It's an institutional kind of approach to me. And then I don't blame institutions because it brings balance, right?
Un
But
Yeah,
there are
unpack
some
that.
people who are placed in a wrong place.
Mhm.
being fed wrong information. And this is not just about life, it's also inside a company or any type of operations. You see people misplaced or misguided with misinformation or wasting time because of lack of information or over information or wrongly compiled information. So these kind of things are what I find I can help. So when it comes down to CRM, the reason why we stripped out everything and just keep the basics, just like, okay, you go from spreadsheet to pipeline. I strip
Mhm.
everything out, automate everything, just keep it there because you're gonna need it 6 months down the road if you actually do scale.
Mhm.
Your spreadsheet won't like will be good enough for the first like 1 or 1.5 year of your like when you start your agency business or consultancy business, right? And then you start doing more webinars or events, go to offline events and get all these name cards, and then you think you're going to put it into the spreadsheet. It never goes in there. It goes into your desk. It just
Mhm.
sits
Yeah.
there in dust. And then when your lead pipeline starts draining out because everything has a cycle, you need to revive all these records and it doesn't exist anymore because you're not maintaining it. And so it's more like that purpose. It will save your place. And then we don't make you overwhelmed by saying that, oh, you need to do marketing integration, you need to track all your website visitors. For a smaller to medium businesses, it's nonsense. You just
Mhm.
need to show up. You need to be visible to people. You work with your local community, build your testimonial, word of mouth,
But
and
let's
then
go.
that.
Let's try to find you in all of this, right? Because like this is
Mhm,
um, understanding what you want in terms of
mhm,
contribution. Like I told you the funny story. One time I told my dad, I was like, I'm like, because I'm like you know, like if it was up to me, you know, if like there was like unlimited money, you know, like money didn't exist, I'd definitely be like a solitude guy, you know. I'll read books, you know, like I always laugh with my wife. I'm like, if I can get paid to do I'd want to get paid to read books. That's it. Not
yeah.
share the lessons, not
Mhm,
simplify the world. Like just read for my own
mhm,
sake. So like I understand that, but so I asked my dad. I was like, "Can you be successful in life, you know, without you know meeting people?" He's like, "Yeah,
mhm.
you can be successful in life without meeting people if you lived in a world with no people." You know?
Yeah,
So,
that's also the reality, no?
yeah, exactly. So
Um,
it is a dream
mm,
to kind of be in this kind of solitude, but in the end, we are living in a world with people where,
yeah,
how we show up to life influences and impacts people, right?
yeah.
So being intentional about what that is, right,
Mhm,
upfront is a very, you know, key thing to
yeah.
zero in on, right?
Mhm,
So when you kind of hear your story like this, like that you love kind of understanding the principles of systems,
mhm,
right? And not from a thought perspective. You're kind of trying to extracting it from how you understand, right?
yeah.
And then you want to share that in ways that increase value or economic
Mhm.
value for people, right? Uh, why do you think your kind of personal purpose, not like your business purpose, like why do you like that personally, or like what is the ultimate version of that look like?
My own purpose.
Yeah, like let's say in 20 years, right?
Mhm,
uh or whatever, maybe in 5 years, but you reached your like peak uh ability and kind of influence,
mhm.
and what does that look like in terms of what are you offering, or what are you inspiring, or what are you representing as a as a force of value. Let's think about it
Value.
that way.
I think it should be. Mm, hmm. Very good question. If I dig very deep into it, right, what is the value that I'm trying to, well, I will be delivering if I did make my way up, um, would actually be in multiple angles, I guess. For businesses, it would be cost cutting.
Mm,
And I think it also fits in with how the world is changing as well. I don't think humans will be occupying a lot of spaces of the repetitive tasks in a very soon future as well. And then I don't think humans are supposed to be in repetitive tasks as well. Of course, some people do find joy in it, and then I mean, I go to gym all the time and I do repetitive things.
yeah.
So there is part of us that I mean, definitely repetitive tasks are very comfortable. It's predictable. There's nothing to fear
Mhm,
as well. But at the same time, I think we as a people, we can grow more as we discover more.
mhm,
So I think it aligns with my own value as well. The reason why I do still do things, stay in the world together, try to live together with people, trying to fit in is all because I know there is so many more things to learn and discover, and that's exciting. And then I think if I put it in a very arrogant terminology, would be the value would be freedom.
mhm. But yeah, but
And
I like your definition of freedom. Like your
yeah,
definition of freedom is kind of in the space of value, right? Not in the space of health and whatever, because all of that, like you're saying, there's also, like the monks who create like the intricate sandcastles, and then they like there's a or cleaning your house, that's repetitive too, but there's like
yeah,
a joy that comes from that. But you're saying in terms of human contribution, or like the way we kind of fulfill ourselves in a more societal way is when we can contribute to each other things that are outside the.
yeah. It's also a systemic thing. I think,
Yeah,
I mean, the way
it's
societies are
tough to
built,
describe. Yeah.
right? Yeah. I think in a self-actualization of each individual level, I have
Mhm.
no right to advocate anything within anyone's life. So that's not the purpose. I
But
think
you're trying to
it's
be an example of
yes.
what that could be, and what is that example though? Like that, like if we're gonna see it today in the next
I
five
mean,
minutes,
I
what does
am
that look like?
partially already doing it because a lot of people tell me, like when they see me live, their response is like, "What the fuck? You can live like that too."
Hmm.
And
But you're not showing
secondly,
it enough. Like
yeah,
we see it in the DMs, but you're
yeah.
not
And
showing it.
then
Uh,
also, I think it's more, I guess, if I put it in that sounds like an anarchism, but it's not. It's more like the way our society is built is like we don't realize it, but in a way that is we structurally make people turn people into resources.
mhm.
And then a lot of people live a life of a resource. And then I think it's more about freeing more people from that status to be actually a value creating people because that's actually for me it creates value for me. I feel I have value by creating value for other people instead of just handling repetitive tasks and become a processor basically. So when we look at GPT and then it does all these jobs, how different are we? When you are in a corporate job, you are just a GPT inside that organization, actually. So is that the right way to live? For some,
I like this
probably
idea.
comfortable.
So the way I'm kind of visualizing this idea is you're
It's,
saying,
it's actually like
yeah,
Morpheus.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's turning people are not resources. People are not processors.
No.
People are, like you're saying, alchemists. That's kind of like we're not even like we're not enriching anything. We're actually interacting with life in a way that
Mhm.
kind of creates something out of all of this that is much bigger than just being
Yeah,
a resource, or just being a processor, or just being something like that.
I guess if I put it in a way, since I mentioned Morpheus now, it's a little bit more clear. Is basically if I do achieve my goals, then I should be a person that can actually give people at least one more chance to choose whether you want a red pill or blue pill.
And what is the red pill and what is the blue pill?
So in Matrix world, the red pill, I think it's the red pill or so if you take one, I
I
forgot which.
understand, but I'm saying for you exactly.
For
The
me, red
yeah,
pill.
yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
basically for so if I guess I mean it won't go if people can have a business, I mean, because we're living in a capitalistic system, so you have to have a business as a vehicle to move forward faster than just walking on your feet, right? So if people can set up a business much easier and operate it more easier, because actually most businesses fail because of operations, not idea. But
Mm,
operations can be automated, right?
mm.
So it's more like you want to go from point A to B, and then I give you a Tesla,
Yeah, self-driving. Okay,
autopilot.
I get it.
Yeah,
Amazing,
that
amazing.
would be the end goal. Yeah.
Self-driving vehicle, and the vehicle is business.
Yep.
Amazing. And you as a person is a matter of choosing the destination. Like that's kind of the creativity that comes.
Yeah, basically. So you have a car, then you can go somewhere. It's not a train.
Yeah, yeah.
Governments create a train. You board it, and then the destination's set for you.
Amazing. And you go anywhere you want. Like that's kind of
Yep.
where the humanity comes in.
Yep.
Amazing. All right. We
Good.
tackled question one.
Yeah, we went from a palm tree to
Yeah.
Morpheus.
Yeah, Morpheus. But
But that
let's
was
say you
basically my favorite movie. And then that actually does say everybody was used as a battery back then in that
yeah,
movie.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah, exactly. I love it. So let's say you get there, right? You've created the self-driving business. Okay. At that moment, what are the opportunities you want to attract?
As a business or a person?
First,
To that person or myself?
like if you've reached that, you've built the self-driving business, right?
Yeah.
Like you've created the whatever, you get the CRM, you got all of it, and it's all automated.
I mean, CRM is just one part of it.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
think.
You've created all the pieces,
Hmm.
right? And it works, and you reach that. You're like, I did it. At that point in time, what are the opportunities that you want to attract?
I think it's pretty clear. There's only one path in capitalistic world. You do a business, you operate it, you go into a self kind of sustainable enterprise level. Then the next step is only finance. You have to become an investor and then grow others to go down the same path.
Amazing. So
So
that's your dream,
yeah.
is like,
So I guess it's like I'm in that island with that one palm tree, and then I can have one person per year to come and learn.
okay, I like it. Yeah, that's great.
And then we will build a system together, and then the guy will actually have a company that doesn't require thousands of people getting grinded in every day to operate. I don't find it to be very glamorous. Yeah.
Amazing. I love it. What are your proudest moments? What's the proudest moment in your life?
My proudest moments
Yeah, if
when
you were gonna pick
paid
one,
off
like
my debt from my previous bankruptcy.
which one?
I went bankrupt before.
Hmm.
I had to pay the debt back. So there was a moment where like the reason why I don't like being in Hong Kong is mostly is because at some point I was so broke that I had to sleep in McDonald's.
No way.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I had
So
no
what
money to
happened? Yeah,
pay.
tell us the story.
Yeah. So I was in the most slummest place of Hong Kong.
Uh-huh.
And then it's pretty common. I think the term is called the coffin houses. So you get like it's a stacked housing
Mhm.
inside the stacked housing, which is subdivided, and then there you get this space that is the size of a coffin.
No, this
Yeah,
is
it's
real.
called the coffin houses in Hong Kong. Yeah,
Wow.
because it's the most population dense city in the world. right?
So this is just like a place to go sleep, and then
Yeah. All your stuffs are inside, so you like when you don't even need a blanket because you're just sleeping with your clothes on you.
yeah, amazing.
Yeah, but then I also didn't even have money to pay that.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's why I mean
How did you go from there to
the
paying back
consulting
your debt, and then
in the
yeah, like,
consulting nobody knew about this. I hide it very well. Yeah,
well,
so
it's not
nobody.
hidden anymore. So
No.
might as
And
well
now
tell the
you
story,
know about
like
this. Yeah.
what?
I mean, that's one of the reasons why, like, when we have discussions like internally with the founders about like when we have financial fluctuations because it's very early stage right now. So we talk about like, hey, like we obviously we have discussions about cost cutting here and there. And then one of the things I never cut is like the employees.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
It's just
you
like
felt the
I can starve
Mhm.
few months. I'm fine. I think I'm fat enough. I have enough energy to burn on my body. I can survive 2 months without eating. Won't be healthy, but I can
Yeah,
survive. But then for them, there's no reason for them to take that risk, right? And then I actually had to go through that myself, so I know how it feels. It's just not gonna happen.
amazing.
So I think bouncing back from that, and then I really worked really hard because I was having that 9 to 5 job. And then like by around that time, the delivery platform first came into Hong Kong. So I was doing delivery, food delivery.
Amazing.
And I was also doing tutoring at in the weekend. So actually I was sleeping 2 to 3 hours a day, like 24/7 for a year.
Mhm.
You know,
Amazing.
and then I paid off
Bro,
my
like
debt.
this is
I knew
this
it
is
had to be paid back immediately as
and
fast as possible.
how much was like in
Was
like
pretty
dollars?
much.
It's a
It was
lot. Yeah. Like
yeah.
50 grand, something like that, 10 grand, 20 grand.
Oh, much larger.
Oh, larger than that, 100 grand.
Yeah. So
Whatever it
yeah.
is, but, like you basically just so same thing for orientation purposes, right? So you had a business, it goes bankrupt.
Mm,
You took debt on or something like and
mm.
it goes bankrupt, and then the person you got the debt from, because you have to pay it back in Hong Kong. That's how it is. You can't just be
For
like,
the
oh,
bank,
back.
it was a bank loan.
It was a bank loan. Okay. But you can't just declare bankruptcy and then
I think it was a little bit complicated.
so they
I
restructured the loan
can
or
do
something.
bankruptcy, yes,
Yeah.
but then I don't believe in it as well because I knew I can pay it back. So there's no reason to go down that path either.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you took it as like a form of like self-respect. You're like, I took the money, I need to pay it back.
Yeah.
And then you go to like you basically don't even sleep in coffin housing and you sleep in McDonald's,
That was
and
pretty bad.
then
But I think it's
you
like a
you do
matter of
deliveries and tutoring, and you pay all of that from deliveries and tutoring, basically.
and the 9 to 5 job. Yeah. I had a consultancy job.
Okay, so you have like three jobs. So you go 9 to 5 consulting, and then
Yeah.
in at the night you're delivering
Yeah.
meals, and then the weekend you're
Tutoring, and then I
tutoring.
also do freelancing back then, like web development or
Amazing.
like mostly infrastructure optimization, freelancing on like Upwork. I was
So
very
what
heavy
was
on.
that moment like the last dollar that you paid? Like describe that
There
moment.
was nothing left in the loan. I was like super happy. Yeah,
Yeah, can you
it's just a
that day? Can
matter
you
of
describe that day?
like, because like if I am taking a loan out to do something, I am making a promise that I will pay it back. So if I just go bankrupt, there's a reason why the credit gets messed up if you do bankruptcy is because you are not credible anymore. You didn't keep your promise. And then that's never not gonna happen for me.
I
I
love
mean, I would rather just die working.
it. Amazing, bro. But I want to know
At least
that
I
day.
tried, you know.
Yeah, that day. What happened, bro? That day you woke up, you had like
I
ten
ate
dollars
steak.
left.
I ate
Then like
steak.
what?
I ate steak.
Oh, that's great. You're
I
like
went and got a big steak.
amazing.
I still remember.
Yeah.
There's another friend who was living with me around that period, and he was also broke as fuck.
Uh-huh.
He would like try to illegally fish things because we ran out of food.
That's so funny, bro. This is
It was
amazing.
fun. Yeah, I loved it.
is there like
I think I
yeah,
love that period. I was the
mm,
most energetic around that time, actually. Like I
yeah.
am not as passionate as back then now, actually.
But it's good to remember that, to kind of like
Yeah.
maybe find a new reason to kind of push that hard, right?
Oh yeah. I'm also kind of like, hey, I came back once, I can come back twice.
Yeah, yeah. You tested the limits of your
Yeah.
mortality.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
So I took the like $1 challenge a little bit further.
Yeah.
I went like
That's-
negative challenge.
yeah, the negative challenge. That's great. Is
Oh
there a
man.
second proudest moment you had?
I think, hmm, in terms of success, no. I think I don't really take pride in success that much. I think it's always like I do work hard and then I do try to go into the direction of success, but then success is always has a lot element of luck and good people around you.
I agree.
So whenever success happens, I don't think there's many times I take pride in it. It's more like it's over
Yeah, yeah. It's like you
to
reached.
everyone.
Is there another part of your life where like you remember and like brings you a lot of pride, like that resonates with you?
I don't think so. I think a lot of my pride comes from overcoming shit situations.
Difficult. Yeah, yeah.
I find it fun. It's like because there's so much pressure on you
Mm.
going on, and then just getting out of that moment is very nice. I think that's one of the reasons why I'm addicted to lifting heavy weights as well. Is
Because the
actually it's not
pain.
about lifting the weight.
Mhm.
Actually, after you lift the weight, you put down the weight, that feeling.
Yeah, yeah.
There's that release. And then I think I am sort of addicted to that kind of feeling. So
It's fine. You gotta know yourself. You gotta know what you like and own it, and then like lean into it, because I think that's the path everybody faces, right? You're kind of like you're saying, where you go and you discover new things, and the things that resonate with you, you kind of just stick to it a little bit, but you don't want to get too comfortable with it,
yeah.
to keep exploring and discovering life. It's beautiful so far. What was the exact moment you were like, let's do it, Clippy, let's get it? Like, what happened that you were like,
I
this
opened
is
my
what I want?
HubSpot and nothing was filled in.
Well,
I opened my HubSpot and nothing was filled in because I never filled in anything.
that's so fun. And this was in your consulting job?
Yeah, for my own.
Yeah. And you're
Yeah.
like, I needed the
Like, what did I do for the last 3 months and I couldn't track it because I was like
amazing.
just way too busy.
Yeah.
And
And
then
yeah.
and then I had an email integration set up, but then for some reason it broke. So like
Mm,
nothing was in there. So
amazing.
I was like, okay, then I will build my own automation. So I built a wrapper around it. And then it just didn't work out. It was just too expensive to have the things that I need.
Okay.
So and then I looked around in the market trying to find something like this. And then the only thing that was closest was using Zapier to build this CRM for yourself.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
had
yeah.
like there's a CRM in Zapier that you can set up and connect to a whole bunch of stuff. It works actually. I tried it out.
Mhm.
That was the best one I could find. And I was like, hey, if this is a product, I can productize this with a better UI so that it's built.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's how we started originally. I mean, the whole original concept was like, there's so many things we can automate in this CRM or lead flow in general. Lead flow is much more effective if it is automated, and then it is easier to set up if it is automated. Even if you don't understand the whole lead flow,
Mhm.
you can have it out of the box. So that was actually the original concept of clipping,
Mhm.
especially on the guiding people who aren't sales
Yeah.
to be able to do sales. Yeah. And then
And
so
this,
that's
you had your own consulting business. That's when that moment, like, what
yeah,
were you using HubSpot for?
yeah, consulting, my own.
Consulting? Yeah. Uh, Okay, so lead flow, non-sales into sales. And this was how many years ago? This was like a year ago. When did you start this?
January this year.
January this year. All right, bro. What are your superpowers?
I guess describing systems, abstraction. So this
Okay.
abstraction works well when I go into programming because I start with building the entire data model first. I can think and figure out how the data would look like based on what the business case looks like. So this part is always has been my superpower. I'm not so good at details instead.
Yeah.
I'm very good at zooming things out, and then
Mhm,
I'm very bad at zooming in.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you hit a lot of the points. Like I have like questions, and like you hit a lot of them. So like I'm
Mm.
trying to make this as
Yeah,
relevant, as relevant to you as possible. So who are you serving? If you're gonna like think about
yeah.
the market clip you're serving, who are you serving?
So markets getting much clearer these days. Originally, it was targeted at agencies and consultancies, smaller consultancies, and then consultancies and agency for me has a slight difference as well because agency is more of a placement for me, and then standard. I mean, it could be the same in certain ways. I think for what I see as a consultancy is more like a multidiscipline agency.
Hmm.
They can offer multiple things, and then I mean, well, I guess management consulting in general.
Hmm.
But there are boutique consulting companies that do these operations in a very small niche. They always have very crunched operations, like myself, basically. And then these guys always struggle because the pipeline is unstable.
Yeah.
And then I actually said this to someone this week as well. It's like when your pipe starts draining, best place to start is actually churned, like a previous leads that didn't
Hmm.
respond yet. But if you don't
Yeah.
have that record, you have nowhere. Now you have to do advertisement and spend more
Yeah.
money and then
Hmm.
have unknown ROI. So you need to keep track of records now. Earlier the better.
So
So
what
that's
happened? Like you started targeting agencies, but it sounds like that's not where it's at right now.
um it's still the focus. That's probably why like our website right now doesn't have an agency ICP page because I'm taking more time to write it.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So it
rewriting
is
it.
agencies and consultancies.
Yes.
And is that where most CRM users are? Because I feel like that's not.
That's not. That's
It's,
not. Mostly so from my experience in consultancy in multiple places, one of the reasons why they don't have a sales ops is because of the the churn rate of the employees are pretty high in
mhm.
consultancy.
Yeah.
If you're staying in consultancy longer than 2 years, we know you're a snake.
Okay.
Nobody
Yeah.
survives that long
Yeah.
in consultancy,
Mm.
in general. Um, they have very lightweight operating ops team as well, normally, because it's
Okay.
already a very human heavy business. You're selling human body.
Yeah.
And I mean, if I put in a very layman term, it's like you are selling body by time. That's what
Yeah. Yeah.
consulting
No,
is. Yeah.
I understood the
So
metaphor,
they,
but like,
they try to crunch the human capital as much as possible. And basically what happens is that you see these consultancies having like 20 to 30 consultants, and then you have like one admin person
mhm.
doing everything. Then you see how the hell would you have any time to set up CRM
Yeah. So why are you selling one at a time?
one at a time?
Yeah, like
Well,
if in your example, right, the boutique consultancy or the boutique agency with one guy who's doing admin stuff and email stuff, and you know
yeah. But
you're
then the
just selling
people who
that.
are interacting with the client are all the consultants, and they will not help with the CRM implementation. So CRM needs to implement itself. if you want a CRM.
So that consultancy with the 30 consultants, you're selling 30 licenses,
Yes.
30 seats?
Yes.
Okay.
That
Okay.
is a concept.
Okay,
So
so
because they have a lightweight ops, that's normally why they end up not having a CRM.
mhm,
And
okay.
then that's actually I experienced it firsthand when I was in the consultancy as well. It just didn't work out. Nobody did anything. And everybody's like, oh, I'm busy with this client. I can't do it. No, nobody shows up to meeting. So why don't I create something that just implements itself? It's out of the box. It's simple. You don't have much to configure. And then basically you just need to be able to track what's going on. So it's a sales tracker in the beginning.
I understand, but in Clippy, does it propagate up to like the main account?
Propagate up to the main account. You mean
Like if I'm
shared
the
account?
like I'm the general partner, right? And I have, consultants working under me, like 20 consultants,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I set up Clippy in their emails.
Mm-hmm.
Do all the leads and all the flows go up to my view? Is there like
Yes,
a
it's a shared.
manager view?
Yeah,
Oh, you and
the
is
view.
is that a clear value proposition? And because I didn't see it,
Mm,
I didn't like take away that as a main value
yeah.
proposition.
It's not there right now
Mhm.
because the current actual target, even inside the agency and consultancy, is actually, as I said, it's a boutique consultants, right? Boutique consultancy is actually mostly 5 to 6, and then these tools are being procured by the owner themselves.
Yeah, but
So they want to see it. But I
okay,
think I get what you mean, actually. Yeah, that's
yeah.
true.
If
I
you're
think
gonna
it should
say,
go on the agency page.
yeah, and also let's kind of unpack this a little further because I'm not kind of convinced that your
Mhm.
targeting is creating the most
Targeting.
opportunity or the biggest opportunity for you, right?
Mhm.
So if you're gonna think about it like that, right? You can sell Clippy based on seats.
Mm.
Uh, with that thing we just described, ironed out, like you've implemented it and it works beautifully. Where like there's leader view basically is what I'm trying to say.
Managerial
Uh,
view.
yeah. How do you? Who has the biggest teams? What kind of market wants
Mhm.
sales? Want CRM that you can hit once and sell like 500 seats or 1,000 seats? Like
We technically speaking, we haven't gotten into that point. I mean, the
I'm asking
scaling point,
you, if, let's say you are gonna go into that point. What kind of market? Like who is that customer? What does that customer look like?
technically, to be honest, I think that is still the SaaS area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, that's one of the reasons why we have one ICP targeted at the founders because I am using Clippy as well right now.
Yeah.
And then I am trying to solve my own problems while I am tackling this SaaS as well. So I mean, one of the key kind of conversations I had like this week was actually one of the small kind of fast growing SaaS. I actually asked them for founders discount,
Mhm.
and then they looked into our website and then they asked me for a demo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had conversation with
So
their
B2B SaaS is kind of like,
potentially,
yeah.
but then there's in order to actually serve B2B SaaS, there's a lot of features that needs to go in to actually fit this. And then I think it is sort of outlined in a roadmap. So the reason why I actually quickly added a public roadmap was also for this, because there's so many features missing right now. So there's not a clear way to communicate the value. I don't talk about value that I am not delivering now as
Mhm.
well. Um,
Okay. What are the like top three value propositions right now? It's self-implementing CRM for
it's
one
automatic.
person.
Yeah.
Is that it, or is there something else?
One, I think 1 to 3 people can benefit now. And then we're just focusing on these to build.
Who are these three people? Agency owners, like
Basically,
yeah,
the agency
solo
owners,
consultants,
solo
basically.
cons
Yeah,
yeah. So fractionals.
yeah. yeah, fractional, whatever, fractional CMO, fractional, uh, yeah, solo consultants, fractionals, and agency owners.
Yeah.
And then potentially the extreme cases where you can hit of like 1,000 seats, 2,000 seats, whatever is B2B SaaS.
Most likely, yes.
Okay. And then if you're gonna think about like the connoisseurs, like who is a company that if they advertise their usage of Clippy would create a big ripple effect? What kind of companies are those?
You mean affiliate channels?
No, let's
Eh,
say, like for example, uh, let's say I create a whatever, like HubSpot, for example. When Netflix says, "Oh, I use HubSpot," right? It's a big signal for HubSpot that like it can unlock so many more customers because like there's what's that for you? Like who's the taste maker in this like CRM space that can there we go. PricewaterhouseCoopers. Okay. So the big four, if you can get like accounting companies, big accounting consulting companies, McKinsey, those people, if they can, okay.
Yeah. So most likely when we do prove some of the earlier stage kind of hypothesis, which we are getting close to, and then now we're actually working on the first kind of growth campaign. And then that's actually bundled with, that's why I'm amending the messaging as well, because there will be a massive outreach campaign going out as well. I've been collecting leads over the last 2 months, like both on Twitter, LinkedIn, or just scraping using Clay. That's why I have a lot of contents related to outreach right now, is
Have
because
you
I've been
targeted?
getting,
Have you targeted accountants?
I could, but then I don't like,
Who cares
no,
what you like? It's what
I'm
market is
just
gonna.
kidding.
Yeah.
Um, accountants, potentially, but for now, we want people who are a little bit more open to discussions and then give us some more feedbacks. In general, like my experience working with accountants are not the most reciprocal people because they work with legal stuffs. They're very
Mm,
standard following
mm.
people. So I I mean that could be my bias and then this could be my demise of ignoring them. I'm not ignoring them. It's just I think I
I've
have
considered
enough
them.
data
Yeah.
sources from people that I know are going to help. And then I will I mean the thing is their need is very different as well in some ways. But it's nothing different from agency or consultancies anyways. Accountants work on a project basis every year or different, I mean, as long as they're not working in um for some kind of audits and stuff, like the
Yeah.
specific types of audits or fraud areas.
Yeah, no,
So
I meant just
yeah.
like you're saying, like personal
Accountants, I don't
accountants.
think I haven't looked at it yet. Mostly marketing agencies, IT agencies right now, IT consulting. I mean, I did IT consulting for many years, so it's much easier for me to also build kind of relationship with them because I can
Mhm,
give them. So basically, the way I do things is like I find these people, and then they have problems somewhere else. I help them. I
mhm,
find them, I help them find needs, or I help them kind of point directions on what technology stack to use, how to deal with your employees, stuff like this. So very
mhm.
bottom of the funnel approach, and then I've been working up from here. And then nowadays, I started targeting or collecting and engaging with more marketing agency people, especially advertisement or sales
Yeah,
agencies. Yeah, so we will be sending out around 20 to 30,000 emails. And then we have AppSumo campaign coming as well.
yeah. I
So
think fractionals might be like too small. Like because I feel like
fractionals
if
are small, but they're more of a target because they're most likely going to become an affiliate.
okay, oh,
And
because they
then those
work
guys
with
have much
these.
better marketing expertise than me.
So okay,
So yeah,
so fractionals are more like affiliates, right?
yeah.
Because they have the foot in the door with bigger companies, right? And then you're saying that's like the smallest. And then solo consultants is also kind of the same.
Same area. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
affiliates.
So consultants. Okay, so that's kind of a bucket. We'll put those. And then you got like agency owners and specialized consultancies. That's
Yeah.
kind of the main target.
Like bigger fish at the moment because I'm not looking at bigger fish right now. I focus on one segment by segment.
Yeah, so agencies and like specialized consultancies, which are like you're saying,
IT consultant.
HR or IT or marketing or something like that. Specialized consultancies. Um,
Current portfolio of the consultancies that we are serving is IT,
mhm,
and venture capital consulting.
okay.
There's one. And then recruitment and placement,
Mhm.
and and then advertisement and PR. All small agencies.
Uh, IT
We're
and
very
recruitment sounds like the most lucrative.
recruitment, not so much. IT is okay, I think. All of them have a similar ACV right now, ticket size right now, so I can't really tell. Yeah,
Okay. And then potentially there's B2B SaaS or like not even SaaS, just any B2B company,
business. Yeah,
B2B businesses.
could be.
That seems like where, you know, a lot of your effort can be spent in a more, once you have a more complete product, I guess, is where, like right now, you're building the product with these agencies, and then once it's complete, but I think having that as an internal priority is
Yeah.
gonna move you in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, technically, that's why we are digging into this area too. Like, if I want to go for big dogs right now, then I need to raise funds. There's no other way. Like,
Yeah.
you can talk about it and then you can have like 50,000 followers on Twitter. That's not going to make the big dogs actually procure you. That's not where they find you, you know?
Yeah, no, but it's a matter of
Oh,
it's
yeah,
risk. It's like you're saying, it's risk. Like Levi, he has like the email platform, the 00 email platform, and he's getting interest from big companies just because he has like a self-hosted platform, you
yeah,
know, and they're like looking at risk and whatever. So it's selling to them is literally just have you
yeah,
sealed all the risk holes? Like, is it SOC2 certified? Is it all this like GDPR or
yeah.
compliant? All the security stuff has to be taken super serious.
I am way, way too experienced in these B2B
Yeah,
procurement and government procurement
yeah,
processes right now. So, I mean, one of the things, so I said I try to twist things every time I try a new thing, right?
uh-huh.
And I've been doing a lot of B2B or B2G type of businesses before.
Hmm.
And even in consulting is B2G or B2B as well. It's the same
Hmm.
thing, the
Yeah.
sales channels.
Hmm.
So this time you can see in the design of what we're doing is we want to sell to individuals that helps us sell to business.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I understand the
Yeah.
like the map right now. And when you're looking at that, like let's take it one by one, right?
Mhm.
I'm gonna I'm gonna call the fractionals, solo, whatever. We're just calling them fractionals for now because it's easier to say. All right. So you got your fractionals, and then you got your consultancies,
Mhm.
and then you got B2B, right? In terms of
Okay. Yeah.
like three targets, three sizes, going up. What are the pain points that the fractionals are facing that you're so like relieving with
You have a CRM?
me? No. I right now I fired all my clients, but when I did, I had a note for each client. I didn't really have
Um, I mean, what is the reason why you don't want to put them in a structured information pipeline though?
it's like you're saying, the input, the figuring it out, like the effort of making it work was too
It,
much for me to give a shit.
and also the lead. So for fractionals, it's much harder to target. So for fractionals, what I am selling is the future mostly. And then agencies, they have larger lead pipeline. So what I actually do tell people is like, if you only have like 2 to 3 clients talking, like new leads talking to you a week, and then you can't even keep that up with a spreadsheet, then maybe you don't even need a CRM because you're not never going to get to that stage.
Yeah, exactly.
It's also about discipline. So for fractionals, is the pain point isn't large,
Yeah,
but
but
that's why most of the fractionals I talk to is coming from either marketing background or sales background.
okay.
Is because for them, they know they need it at some point. For them, the not having it is a pain, actually, because they know they need it at some point, and then they know how difficult it is to transition if you do it later. It's just that there's no items in the market that they can implement now.
So for the fractionals, it's more of a you're selling a discipline rather than a solution.
Yeah, and then it's more about it's not a painkiller. It's a gain creator for them. But that's why it's more of like a personalized engagement directly with me to actually convert them. Most of the fractionals work this way. Most of the agencies self-onboard themselves right now. So you
Yeah,
can
so
see
that
it's
yeah. So I'm gonna a little I understand your fractionals
Mhm.
thing. Moving on, like the agencies and the so what are the pain points they're fixed?
They're basically facing is the lead is messy, so they can't do a structured sales outreach. Sometimes they just forget to follow up with things, which is a bigger problem because the conversation is mostly fractured
Mhm.
everywhere, and then people need to hop in and hop out of different projects on the same day. So context switch actually makes them forget a lot of things. So if you don't keep track of it, then it's just chaos. I mean,
But that sounds like if you can
relieve it.
organize the chaos, yeah. If you can also create messaging around that chaos and pinpoint each one of those things. So let's unpack that a little bit. So you said one of the pain points is the lead is messy, right? You don't
Yeah.
have enough information on
Or
the lead
duplicate
to
information. You have
what?
11 different records of the same person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
11. Okay, so let's list them up. The lead's messy. You got duplicates.
Yeah.
You got
Missing information.
misinformation.
Yeah. And then by design, the dimensions don't meet as well.
What do you mean?
So if you try to keep things in a spreadsheet, right?
Yeah.
And then you have one client and then you interact with them,
Uh-huh.
right? Then the normal approach most people take is like every time you talk to someone, you create a new column and add the date there.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Then what you happen is you have this gigantic spreadsheet with a lot of empty spaces because one client you talk to a lot and then another client you didn't. And then if you flip it around,
Hmm.
and then one of the key thing you really need is like, when is the last time I talked to this person? And then can I basically sort this account by how recently I talked to that person so that I can actually filter people like, okay, I talked to these people within 2 weeks, so I filtered them out. And then I need to talk to these ones because they're at risk. You can't do that with spreadsheet.
Hmm.
So when you have a spreadsheet, it works when you're small because you don't have many clients.
Hmm.
You remember everything. And
Hmm.
then as it grows, you think you remember it, you don't. And then
Hmm.
you thought you recorded it, it doesn't have it.
Hmm.
So that's where actually people have the breaking points and then they start scrambling. So one of the other thing is most of these agencies that are 3 to 8 people large to 12, they start having like people working on marketing and then creating lead magnets as well. So they start having more leads because now their word of mouth or them going to talk to people doesn't really like work enough to scale, right? So they need to do more marketing. You start having more leads coming in, and then you have all of these in Google Sheets. And then you have your own spreadsheet on your computer. And then you hired some salesperson and then you fire that person, right? Some part of your lead is on his laptop that he took with him.
Hmm.
So this happens. And then they
Hmm.
already tried HubSpot, couldn't figure out how to do it. They like normally I go in and then they have like they have the first three people who has the HubSpot logo. So, the
Yeah.
default context they create.
Uh-huh.
They have like themselves
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then more. So they normally have like 11 to 15 contacts in there. Companies are not filled in. No interaction has been logged. And then I asked them like, why didn't you use it? It's like, I don't know. Nobody did it.
Yeah.
So that is where we are actually operating in. I just want
Okay.
to fix
Yeah,
problems
so you're
first.
fixing like, hey, duplicates, misinformation. This is like on the record level, right? There's like duplicates, misinformation,
Mhm,
and the keeping of the record. That
mhm,
it's in different places.
mhm.
You're unifying all this. You're having like one source of truth for all of this.
Yep.
That is synchronized across all the collection points, and
Mhm,
then you have the actual CRM itself. The software is simple enough where um, you can query it and like sort it based on like your needs.
mhm,
Just one second. So you got collection, and then you got organization, right?
mhm.
Organization, and let's call it intelligence also. And then the scale problem, you're saying at some point it becomes unmanageable because you get so many leads. So you kind of have that pain point where like it's ready for scale.
Mhm.
Uh, is it, what else
That is,
do you have?
I
What?
guess in a benefit level, without talking about functionalities, those are the ones that I have now.
So we got those when you're thinking about like B2B, right? Like big companies, like let's say you're hitting PwC, right? What do you think their pain points are?
They won't have any, technically. But when I talk about these large companies, I guess if you ask me about the big fours, the
Mm,
reason why I probably won't dig too much is it's way out of our league right now. And then I have this kind of mentality where I only deal with things that I can deal with now.
mhm,
Like it is possible within the possible domain. I think PwC, I want to take it as a goal.
yeah.
In order to get there will be a journey. And one of the areas that I am looking at is the IT innovation bodies of these companies. So actually, if you look at like IT consulting of Accenture, for example, it's
Mm,
not Accenture. They acquired another company to do it
yeah.
and then turned it into a Accenture brand.
Mhm,
So those are the areas that I am actually targeting by targeting these boutique consultancies because their path of exit is acquisition by Big Four.
mhm.
So I need to actually stick with these people and then help them grow. And then they will become my
Foot at the door. All right.
enemy.
Okay,
Yeah.
then let's
Yeah.
let's talk about more B2B SaaS, right?
Yeah.
For B2B SaaS, like for example, what's his name? Sarah, right? His company, it's growing fine, uh, but what are the pain points he might face with like organizing leads and the whole deal situation?
Technically speaking, I am the most least I mean, is the most doubtful segment that I am working on right now is B2B SaaS
Yeah,
right now.
you're
It
not
requires so many growth hacking and marketing integration to actually work to be
okay.
a B2B SaaS CRM. That's why like if it comes down to B2B SaaS, if you like when like you see me posting as well, it's like when
Yeah.
I see like someone building B2B SaaS, but I know they're not scaled enough, then I tell them to use Attio. But
Hmm.
then if you're large enough, right, just use HubSpot, really.
Yeah.
Because you have enough funding. I mean, most tech companies, you have enough funding and you have enough cash flow to actually afford these kind of HubSpot level operation, basically. That's the key. It's like the people I am targeting don't have the scale of operations to support a CRM. That's why they
Mhm.
need something that does the operation for them. For
But
SaaS,
does your stuff, because you're saying basically if your
Mhm.
lead nurturing sequence. Has nothing to do with email. You're like,
No.
use
Yep.
something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
So technically, if I put it in a very layman term, right? Right now, Clippy's status is to replace sales admin person. So I replace one headcount for you
Yeah.
now, right? And then obviously we will have a direction of, okay, then how do I help them? So right now, status is how do I help them collect and centralize all these data in one place so that they can have a single source of truth? That's all we are focusing on this phase right now.
Yeah.
And then the product is built in 4 phases right now. So after we finish the collection part, so what we have upcoming within the next 2 weeks is actually LinkedIn Chrome extension to actually start enriching things from LinkedIn in one click. It's
Okay.
standard. Folk, Attio, HubSpot all have it.
Yeah.
Very easy to build. But then another thing that we are doing is how do I like not basically one click summarize and enrich your LinkedIn conversation
Mm-hmm.
was the key technology that we're working on. Then another thing that goes in is basically, those meeting bots.
Mm-hmm.
We're almost done with it. So
Okay.
that's gonna go in as well. So that actually covers emails, virtual meetings, and
Yeah.
LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is semi-automated.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm getting a lot of requests for Twitter right now, but that's because I am talking so much on Twitter.
Yeah. 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 But
So I
is
am actually putting this on a backlog and I'm not looking at it. So once we are finished with this, then the next phase is actually how do I help people see this data? So
yeah.
the display. It's not going to be analytics, it's more about views and templates, templated views.
Oh, you don't
So
have that yet?
no,
Okay.
just have a very basically when you come from spreadsheet onto us, you won't really feel it's any different because it looks like a spreadsheet right now.
Yeah.
But it just has smart fields basically.
Mm,
Yeah. And then it's optimized for a very specific data structure. That's why I'm very doubtful about B2B SaaS as well, because we're kind of going in a path of extremely opinionated tool.
yeah.
We have a very opinionated way to structure the deal, structure the lead pipeline, and then the way you manage it. Kind of like how Linear's doing it with Jira compared to
Mm,
Jira. We're going to be very opinionated, and then we will restrict the data structure so much that some people just can't use it. But the people who use it will take value because the data structure is very rigid. That means I can do a lot of computation around it for you.
mm, yeah. But
When
the
most
display part
enterprise app
sounds
is the customization that fucks up the data structure for you.
yeah. The
Yeah.
display part sounds very important though.
Yes, it is. And that's
Yeah.
why it's coming. So I mean, our launch cycle is every week. So
Okay.
we're shipping features every week. So
Yeah.
we will get there pretty quickly anyways.
Nice.
We're not so concerned about that. But
What about websites? Like, how are you like landing pages are like the number one should be the number one place to get leads. Do you have any like integrations for websites?
forms,
Forms?
Tally
Yeah,
forms,
you got that? Yeah.
forms and cow.com. So like booking softwares, for example, they are already integratable. It's just that I haven't wrote a doc.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay. Uh, and if you're gonna like describe the magic trick, right? Like, what is the magic trick that Clippy does? Like, if the visual magic trick.
Visual magic trick
Yeah.
you mean in general?
Yeah, in general, like let's say there's the VC, right? Like the guy sitting next to you, he has access to all the money. What is one thing you can show them that's gonna wow them? They're like, hey, check this out. Wow.
I guess it would be just kind of like, hey, can you send me some kind of code like a sales email? Or I'm gonna send you an email and then you just reply it like you just receive a sales email and then I will just have my screen open because it will automatically log everything when he answers me. So one of the other thing is like we actually haven't pushed this to GA yet, but your pipeline is supposed to move automatically based on your conversations at some point. So the deals inside the pipeline view, the Kanban view.
You
Uh,
you should do you need to do a video.
I know. I mean, I'm doing.
It's
I'm
yeah,
still
you gotta
learning
do
how
it.
to do videos. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the video like that you have to do.
Yeah.
Basically, Clippy's Kanban view, persisting, right? And then the on top it's like you sending the email sends back, and you just see
Yeah.
Clippy, you know, auto
In order
populate.
to make this happen, I have to build an in-app notification so that I can actually show email received and then the thing moving at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how you're gonna do it creatively,
Yeah.
like the animation, but you just yeah, just
This
to
part
show.
is so new is because like I didn't have software like Screen Studio before.
Uh,
So actually, like the fact that I can do this actually created a new problem for me. Because before, right, these kind of stuff, they actually outsource it to an agency to do it.
yeah,
Like they
yeah,
will do the product video for you. So I am so used to paying someone to make this mock interface with
yeah,
like Adobe Illustrator or something
mhm.
like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And
After Effects.
they
Yeah.
will like After Effects or something, and then
Uh,
they will create the video for you, and then you have all these like kind of like, okay, this is the storyboard, and then I will
mhm,
have this like stupid PDF, long
mhm,
PDF file, which they forgot to break down the pages, so it's like a
mhm.
super long PDF and stuff. So
Yeah,
I went there, and then I went to consulting, came back after
mm,
7 years. The world changed, and now I
yeah,
can
yeah,
make a whole video from my own laptop.
uh,
And then I was like, so how do I do this?
yeah, yeah. You gotta learn, yeah, all these things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm learning. It's a steep learning curve for me.
yeah.
But
But
I would,
it's an iteration thing. You know, you do it once. You know, as
yeah,
long as the idea is there, you know, you capture the idea in the first version, and then you're like, okay, I can improve it here. I can improve it here. I can improve it
yeah.
here. And you just iterate your way to like
Hmm.
the the idea that looks fantastic, you know, on video. In terms
Anyway,
of competition and like
mhm.
alternatives, if you want to think about that, like you said HubSpot obviously is competitive.
We are trying to fill the void that they're leaving. That is
Okay.
actually the current status is HubSpot grew because they were the CRM of the small and medium business.
Yeah.
And you can see that they're leaving that space slowly and
Yeah.
going to, because the only way to grow now is to go against HubSpot. I mean, Salesforce for them.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then there's a whole bunch of other softwares that are filling this HubSpot area with like very specialized niche. So
So
there's
who
like
are
fresh,
these players? Who are these players?
yeah. There's fresh sales
Hmm.
from Freshworks.
Okay.
They're very good.
Mhm.
They have like built-in phone. So they're good for like companies that do cold calls.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there's Atio, which
Mhm.
it has a data structure, and the way they built it is very, very suitable for B2B SaaS. Yeah. It's just basically out of the box, you can see that they're built for subscription-based B2B SaaS companies. Yeah. Because they have a subscription model inside
Yeah.
it. Most companies don't. In HubSpot, you have to set it as a recurring invoice.
Amazing. So
Yeah.
ITO is the B2B SaaS go to. All
And
right.
then there's Oak, which I don't really know what they're doing anymore. They
It's
want to be a CRM of everything, and now they're like having recruitment tracker inside. So they became Airtable for me recently.
okay.
I don't know
Yeah.
why they do that. Um, and then another one that we are actually looking at is, I like this one. There's a CRM called Less Annoying CRM.
Okay.
Yeah, very straightforward by their name. Less
Hmm.
Annoying CRM is the simple CRM actually.
Hmm.
They're very simple. They have the basic features. I think there's also Pipedrive
Okay.
as well. Yeah.
And what does Pipedrive do? Like, what is their positioning?
Drive is just I think it's more like a retarded version of HubSpot.
Okay, so like they're
Yeah.
not that differentiated.
Simpler one, and then they're very focused on the Kanban view.
Okay.
And then they're very good actually. They have a lot of integrations done as well. The marketing integration doesn't work as well as HubSpot does, or Fresh Sales does. But a lot of people like Pipedrive because they're very good at advertising.
Okay.
They're very visible. I think they're using the the voice of the customers very well as well. I mean, it's called pipe and drive. So
Mhm.
those are the two things that salespeople like to say: pipe and drive.
Type and drive. That's
Yeah.
so funny. All right. And your hero feature is, what is your hero feature? If you're gonna,
Your feature is basically record automation right now.
yeah, yeah.
And I guess most of these other tools.
Mhm.
So one of the things that actually made me very happy this week was because that SaaS company that requested me for demo actually was trying to get out of Attio.
Mm.
And they
What was
basically
the,
said,
yeah,
we've been using it for 3 to 4 months and we just can't keep the records in there. They said it was automated, but nothing was automated. We had to type everything in. So basically you can have all your email logged or show up inside Attio
but it
as long as
doesn't,
you created the contact. So if you
mm,
don't create a contact, there's nothing.
okay. All right.
Yeah. So
Okay.
same problem even for the competitors right now. And then the thing that I talk a lot to with my customers is that the CRM or any type of IT, so it goes back to the fundamentals of IT. If there's no information to engineer, the IT does nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is the, what is the moat though? Like what is stopping from all these people to, you know, to hit you with something like, why are they not doing the self-implementing, record automating CRM?
There definitely is a technological barrier to scale.
Okay.
And also the old players cannot come to this area because you need to structure the data in a way that it can be consumed by GPT or equivalent large language model.
Mm.
So you've seen Salesforce trying to do like large language model, created Einstein GPT, change their like pricing structure in a ridiculous way. Didn't work out that well
Mhm.
because the data is not built for it.
Okay.
If they can always do this, but then the cost will be higher than the return they get as well
Interesting. Why?
because their infrastructure is already too large.
Okay. But can't
Yeah.
they just create one field that serves as the GPT plug? Like, like they run on all the records,
Mhm.
you know, like the intermediate step that makes the data consumable by the GPT?
It is possible. I think it if you put it in a very linear way and then just adding one API, so or a step, basically a data step
Mm.
that we're talking about, right? But then at their scale, adding one data point could be an exponential growth. So in
Okay.
a logic level, like if you look at it in a layer level, it's just adding one step, right? And then you replicate this in their scale, right? And then what is the cost is the thing. So that's
Yeah.
probably why, like it is actually inferable from how much price point Salesforce had to put on that LLM feature. And then we know that like for them, like the GPT cost is probably nothing.
What's stopping
Hmm.
a new entrant from kind of,
Nothing. I don't think there is anything. That's why
but
I have to
but what
fast.
is, yeah, but what is your moat against that?
Um, I don't have a moat, and I don't actually operate on a moat model that much. I think moat always is velocity. If you're moving faster than anyone, they can't catch you.
In the right direction? Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
Yes.
but you got to keep that focus though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't lose that focus, which is like the self implementation. Basically, at every scale, you want to be the best self implementing CRM.
Self-implementing, self-operating. Basically, at some point, I mean, I'm still like playing around with it. Like in the first beginning, I said no manual entry CRM as a motto, right?
Hmm.
But then there are a few other mottos that I am actually like the reason why I'm also doing email campaign is to test the copies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then one of them is actually no ops CRM.
Hmm.
You don't need ops to have a CRM anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So no ops CRM and a few other things I will be testing, A/B testing this. So today I was like the whole day was like setting up instantly
Yeah,
right now.
self-implementing. I like that. Self-implementing CRM.
Implementation and then also long-term aspect is also, I mean, if I am talking to like if I were talking to larger companies, then they have people like RevOps and sales ops people, like
Yeah,
specifically, like, and then for them, I would actually say talk more about no ops or
yeah.
linear operation, basically,
Mm-hmm.
because the operation only goes linearly to your volume.
Mm-hmm.
For them, their problem is things growing exponentially. Like
Mm-hmm.
lead
Yeah,
is
step
then
changes. Yeah,
the ops difficulty goes exponentially. That's their problem. But then those are like Six Sigma type of people anyway. So, and then
yeah.
I'm not talking to them right now. I'm talking to these people who are actually, if I put it in so I guess this part shouldn't go into the video. The people that I am normally dealing with are financially struggling and finding it difficult to actually not financially struggling, but their growth rate is struggling.
Mm-hmm.
So everything has to be them doing the work, going meeting the person. Also, I have to put all these into the fucking HubSpot thing
Mm-hmm.
because all the other people don't do it. So that's actually how I felt as
Mm-hmm.
well. And then I know exactly how this feels. Like you want to just smack the shit out of people. Like
Mm-hmm.
your own employees are like just lazy, basically. You get to this point to
Yeah.
anger.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. Like they're time crunch. It's not even like
That's where I'm
the
hitting right now,
financially.
basically.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just they can't hire the right people, and the people that already don't want
There.
to use the system, and they're like, "Fuck it,
And you don't
I
have
need the
enough money to
information."
hire a person to just do this as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So
mhm, yeah,
that's where I'm hitting right now.
yeah. But it's not a. I don't think it's a sustainable
No.
position to be in because
Uh-huh.
you want it to be kind of timeless solution, that
Yeah.
scales with with the company. So the no ops CRM scales because you're like, hey, this is a different kind of company that you can build now that doesn't have sales ops, right? Or rev ops.
Mhm.
And that, that might be more sustainable. So it's something to think about for sure.
It's probably going to be the next phase. I think if I basically, I guess for you, if I share the four phases, I actually share the first two, right? So I help people collect and I help people see.
Mhm.
And then I help people, like the third phase is actually, I help people use this data to actually generate business.
Scale.
So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what actually
exactly.
lead generation, code outbound, replies,
Mm.
follow-ups, these area. I'm not going to do AI SDR. I don't actually believe in that one. AI VDR for me is kind of like
Creepy.
whatever. But I think helping out is basically to make the right decisions at the key moments, and then helping you guide it with a templates that you can just edit and send. So I'm not going to automate sending. I just help you draft something for you. So that's actually going from having just an admin clerk to actually if you are seeing the data is actually kind of like analyst level now. And then when you start having people drafting things for you, those are associates level. So I am progressing through the sales kind of organization by rank as the phase goes. And then the fourth one is more on the scaling part. So there will be elements of coaching.
Hmm.
So you can onboard new salesperson and then the software will handle because software is the ops and like now.
Hmm.
So the onboarding happens within the software with the previous history of conversations and all the documentations that we collected through the operations as well.
No, it's
So
great.
yeah.
I like it. It's very clear to me now, the kind of the DNA of the company. And yeah, we can create something really good. I don't say any recommendations during these workshops.
Mhm.
I kind of create something. I think about it, and then I'll send you something. And if you want to, depends. Like last one I did, the recommendations were just too sensitive that I couldn't release them publicly. I just did the like the brand encapsulation, but the recommendations I kept them private. But it might be the same with this one because this one also seems like it's in a very competitive
It is very,
space. You know, it's not like something where it's like for example, Josh, I did with him, and he's creating like memory books, and it has a lot to do with quality and design. Like no one's going to compete with him directly on what he's doing because it's his vision,
yeah,
and you know it has a lot of personality to it, and the recommendations, even if you copy it, you're not eating his lunch. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's
Whereas,
hard.
yeah, with stuff like yours and stuff like the Levi's like 00 thing, you know. But yeah, anyways, moving on. So you
Well,
got the product, which
mhm,
is Clippy, right? You know, and it does these four things, you know, when it's fully built out. Uh, and the solution is kind of this kind of sales-driven growth, right?
mhm.
Like that's this the solution. What is the feeling that they're getting from all of this? Like that transformation, what is the before feeling? What is the after feeling?
I think for them, the feeling is there's not like probably less frustration with transparency and visibility. Yeah, because if I put it in the salesperson's shoe, like I actually experienced this too, and then we also hear this a lot from user interviews as well. The biggest problem when the CRM is not maintained properly is double outreach. It's the worst thing you can do. You outreach the same person. And then there was one case recently, one of the thing was so the deal was almost supposed to be sealed.
Mhm.
They were just waiting for them to send them NDA so that they can start the process, right? And someone outreached them and started bothering them so much that they pulled out.
Yeah. So the
And
stage,
and then
the
the thing is like,
tracking.
okay, do I fire this guy because that the guy just didn't know, and then he was doing his job.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, like these kind of transparency actually helps people first save time, and second is to actually feel more confident to do things because they feel like they know what they're doing. If this kind of thing happens, not only your deal is lost, after this, people lost trust in the overall information. They start not acting. They don't do work anymore because they're afraid they're gonna fuck up. And
Yeah.
it's more damage than you just see. It wasn't just the deal. So these kind of stuffs will be gone. And I think that's why I just say the feeling is more of a confidence
Mhm.
and clarity, transparency.
I like-
Yeah. So it's kind of like from a dark room to a room with a light, I guess, or end of the
Yeah.
tunnel.
And what is the quality factors? Like if you know you come to the point like you're shopping around, right? What are the quality factors that you're judging your decision on based on like what to choose as your CRM product?
Ah, hmm. I think quality part is mostly on scalability
Can you
for
explain? What
CRMs.
do you
Yeah, CRMs are like a lot part of it is about scalability and also the number of channels that you can support. Yeah. And then technically, thanks to Salesforce, we also have to do marketing integration. Yeah. And then so three pillars of CRM for me is the pipeline, the marketing, integration, and loyalty management.
what is
So
loyalty management?
loyalty management is clienteling, basically. You need to actually be able to log an entire like everything comes into one place. So it's like a
Mm,
have CRM and then you have this, right? And then you will have like client application or even your like offline like operating systems. Put all of them together to create. So we call this in a management consultant way, we call this 360 customer view.
360 customer. Yeah. So deal tracking basically.
Basically being able to track everything. Their internet behavior, their social media behavior, your conversation with them, their purchase history, all of them bound into one profile.
I like it.
Yeah. So that's for me is the loyalty management part now. You understand the person so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then if you're thinking about like the moment it's called inciting incident in a story. So like basically, uh, in Mario, right? Mario's hanging out with Peach, everything is fine, and then Bowser steals Peach, right? That's the moment where Mario goes on his quest,
Breaks down,
right?
yeah.
Uh, with your customer, when is that moment that they're like, I need, I need to find the CRM right now,
Hmm. How would I describe it? It's hard. I guess that kind of incident that I just mentioned,
which is,
the double outreach.
oh, it's like when their current system fucks
Yes,
up, like
it just it just happens. I mean, they didn't have a system. They had a spreadsheet.
okay,
So it's a current system, yes.
okay, so when the chaos is just starts creating mistakes.
So it actually starts if you don't have a if your business scales to a point where you need a CRM and you don't have one, then you will actually see diminishing um revenue. The growth rate starts stalling. Yeah.
Okay,
So it's an actual business problem.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Can
It's
you,
really hard to describe until they actually see these kind of like double outreach problem. This is like
yeah,
a really
can we like speed fire these problems? So there's double outreach. What else can happen?
pipeline draining.
What does that mean?
So if you have any like if you don't have any leads coming in, so you have to revive your customers and you don't have lead list to actually do it.
Oh, so like the leads are not coming in
Yeah, so
consistently.
if you don't have new leads, right, you need to go back and look at the old people. But then if you don't have the old people there, then who are you going to revive? So
Okay,
actually, it actually quite a lot of them does is when they're lead drained.
okay.
Is
What
lead
else?
drained. Um, Let me think hard. I think other than that, there's no like strong pain points. There
Mm,
are pains, but it's a manageable pain only. Other than these
yeah,
two, yeah, it's like, oh, I want things to be organized. It's not a pain. It's a wish.
yeah, yeah. No, I get it. So it's mostly when no more leads. You go to the CRM. It's not helping you find leads
Anything
to
because you don't have
revive.
anything. Yeah.
You don't have
So you go
anything that.
into HubSpot. You paid for HubSpot or whatever CRM, right?
Yeah.
And then like you're a business owner, and then you have the sales team going in, like doing all of the stuffs, and then they say like, okay, we don't have any new leads coming in. We need to find new one. And then you're like, okay, let's look at the old context. You go in, it's empty.
All right. Yeah, yeah. Okay. And
And then
then
you're like, why did you put anything in? I was like, I was busy. Fuck you.
all right. So double outreach, pipeline drain,
Yeah.
no one to revive. That's kind of the two biggest ones.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
okay, I get it. It's crystal clear. Um, if yeah, we talked about this, but let's do it again because now that we talked about it for a while, if everything goes right, right, you build this like four-step, the four phases. They're complete. They work amazing. What does the business look like? Like, is that the peak of the business, or is there another?
There's another phase after that. Because actually what I do mostly on a consulting level is actually doing ERP.
Yeah,
So that ERP part is the messier part, like a brother of CRM. Normally, if you buy an ERP, CRM actually is included inside the ERP.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's all about order management, purchasing, RFP, quotation management, so RFQ. So what we call this O2C and P2P process. So order to cash, procure to pay.
Mm,
And that is a multi-department process. When you receive an order, the sales will actually put it into the system, right? And then it needs to be checked against the inventory to see if they can fulfill it. If there is no inventory, then either they need to push or pull the inventory from somewhere else. So you do supply chain, uh, or you have to do manufacturing, or you have to
mm,
buy it. So then you have to open a procurement, right? Request. Then
mm,
you have this procurement process, to actually buy the like a product. You need to find the vendor, buy the product, put it into your warehouse, do a QC, handle disputes, move it to a place so that you can ship it to the customer within the time period that the order was defined at. So that's the whole O2C P2P process. It includes finance, procurement, logistics, warehousing,
And what is
manufacturing,
O2C again? Order to customer,
order to cash.
order to cash,
Once
and
you
then
receive the order to the moment that you receive the cash from the customer,
okay, order to
yes,
cash, and then P2P is what?
procure to pay,
Procure
to
to
pay.
pay.
So the
And you
moment I
and
submit an order and then basically I pay. So the
okay,
whole process,
so O2C P2P, you want to automate that process, basically.
I guess that area will be more of a streamlining process. There's
Yeah.
no way you can automate it because there's so many third parties in there. Yeah. But that's actually the next phase of any business. So you buy, let's say you buy our CRM because you wanted to optimize this ops, right? Then you would want to optimize the other parts of your company's ops. And that's
Okay.
the ERP. That's the next phase. So I am still solving the small problem that
Yeah, yeah, but
leads
step by
to
step, I like it. So
yeah.
like at full form, it's an ERP management, like automated ERP system, basically.
Basically like heavily automated ERP system. Yeah.
Um,
Then there will be things like smart manufacturing systems
yeah,
that are much easier to implement, but then those are like hardware integrated systems. It's an IoT.
yeah, yeah.
So different. But then I mean you look at company that is very, very good at this is actually Tesla.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about that
Their
a little more.
forecasting
What do you mean?
is pretty accurate. Their order management is pretty on point. They
Yeah,
also have a lot of inventory management fully optimized. Their manufacturing is robotic.
yeah,
And then I have quite a lot of friends who are working there
yeah.
as a software engineer as well. So I can hear what kind of culture it is as well. Everybody is
Nice.
like into these kind of stuffs. And then I look at that, I'm like, can we make that model happen in other parts of the country, like Earth as well?
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's what I get. Like my turn on is always when I see these kind of
Yeah.
systems, you know? And I'm like,
Yeah,
how
yeah.
do I replicate this in this context in Asia? Like
Hmm.
I could just do it here, and
Yeah.
then that works out, right? That's going to be a lot of money because the manufacturing hub is still Asia.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I like it. I like it a lot. Um, Automating, like, yeah. Um,
still a hardcore B2B guy, isn't it?
yeah, why not? If you're gonna describe like an opportunity that is gonna grow your business disproportionately,
Hmm.
what kind of opportunity?
Grow and disproportionately is also meaning a little bit unexpected
Yeah,
or
just like something that can happen right now. The best thing that can happen. Like just look, it'll blow up your business, right? And let's assume that it's fully built out, the four phases.
hmm. I think one of the companies that I really want to target, I guess that would be a better way to put it. It's like, what is that one company that I want to acquire that will change everything? Would be actually media,
What kind? I mean,
entertainment media, like Marvel or newspaper,
why?
media business.
How is that gonna grow your
I
business?
think in terms of, I mean, I had this kind of small experience with it before as well, like the
Mm-hmm,
impact of having media on your site,
mm-hmm,
because it opens so much kind of it brings word of mouth in a very different scale for some reason. Yeah. So that's I think other because I didn't want to say PwC or McKinsey.
mm-hmm. But like
Um,
if like a company that has relationships with a lot of media is what you're saying?
yeah, or the media companies itself because they have also need a CRM.
Okay.
They do a lot of
Yeah.
things. Yeah. Uh,
Amazing. Uh, I still can't understand how it's gonna grow your company. If you land Marvel, how does that then translate into more customers?
Viral, no?
Not really. Like if you just say, oh, like if you use it as a logo as credibility, it's not that viral. It's not
It's
disproportionate.
how we spin it. I mean, it's B2B, right? So, I mean, exponential growth is rare
Not
in this
really. Like
space.
if you look at HubSpot, they did the website grader that grew
Hmm.
their
Yeah, that's true.
business. Yeah, so like,
I guess I don't know. I don't think I actually think that far.
mm,
Um, I mean, one of the things I try to avoid is wishful thinking as much as possible. So if you ask me actually what could happen that like would be nice for you, I'm like, actually my standard answer is I never thought about it, so I don't know.
yeah, I understand, but like if you're gonna think about, like, do you think about like building out tools like that, like dedicated SEO tools that drive traffic to Clippy in like almost not
You
indirect,
mean
but like
free tools and lead magnets?
something like that? Yeah, like is do you think about that?
It's funny. It's funny because yes, I do, and then I already it's bundled together with the with the campaign that we're doing right now. I
Nice.
actually have it on my phone
Yeah,
because I actually went through like I drilled into it yesterday, so we have a whole list of it, which are
yeah,
all built. Yeah. So we will be building this in like this week. It will go
that's
into the
cool.
website.
Yeah,
So free tools and like a free lead magnets. And then another approach we are having right now is we have another like one of our clients basically, but he's an IT consultancy as well. So we're doing a co-branded white paper,
yeah,
which is a very standard lead magnet that I know sort of
yeah. It
works.
doesn't blow up that much.
It doesn't
Usually
blow
the
up, but then
yeah,
it's like always the white paper, create some audience, webinar, and then webinar video, chop it into shorts, push it out, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat.
yeah, but that's like a linear way of, like, it's not disproportionate growth, right? Like the disproportionate growth, I think, comes from tools
Yeah,
or
normally.
B2B. Like it's usually you figure out this like super single task tool
Yeah.
that is very related to your big
Hmm.
business, and you kind of give it away for free or like have it ranked in SEO or something.
Yes, I don't have it at the moment.
But I planted the seed, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we will be changing quite a lot of things over the next two weeks.
Yeah.
So that's also why I can't really give a definitive answer because whenever we do these monthly transformation, I actually like let it flow, and then I also need to take the other two founders, co-founders' opinions, and then we create this one solution, and then we just implement it within like the next 3 days afterwards.
Yeah.
So like the free tools are one thing. The reason why I was building the free tools wasn't actually also for SEO is there's a lot of elements of Clippy that I can chop in and then I can make it into very small free offers that
Hmm.
runs at like pretty much like zero cost because I have so much credits from Microsoft right now.
Yeah.
So it could be that. And then we have lead magnets coming in. Of course, we are working on SEO as well, but then SEO, free tools, all of these are kind of like mid to bottom funnel people
Yeah.
as well. So that's why there's the email outreach that is like targeted at the top of the funnel people that I know is actually struggling with similar problems. And then
Yeah.
these were like actually based on like what they post and what they comment on LinkedIn. So I've been
Mm,
collecting this over the last like 3, 4 months, and
nice.
then also adjusting based on what my customers say, and then they also send me like posts as well
Hmm.
that they looked at, and then it resonates with them, and they send it to me, and then I add them to the lead list. That's how I built the lead list right now,
Hmm.
and then that whole campaign will go out. So, uh, I think I am more of a guy that actually will mix like 80% of the ones that I know works and can be scaled under my control.
Hmm.
And then I will do some crazy stuff for it's like 20%.
Yeah,
Actually, one of them was Twitter.
yeah,
Because I am not versed with Twitter. I am not a person who engages well with community. I am more of a I like purposeful things.
yeah. No, I
And then
understand.
I feel like Twitter is like
Mhm.
I go there and then I'm like, okay, I need to share something. I don't know.
Yeah. Twitter is a different thing. It's more branding and community. It's not really marketing. You know,
Yeah.
it's more
So that was my 20% for the last month's
yeah.
plan.
People
Yeah,
who use it for marketing are people actually targeting that
specific
market, right? Like the indie hacker market, like because that's a lot of the
indie hacker is not
community in Twitter. You know, like for example, what's his name? Max Blade.
uh-huh.
You know, he created the whatever GitHub tracker, the little
Oh.
desktop thing, and it's like,
Ah,
you know, that is something that market
yeah,
wants.
that was
You know,
cute. Yeah, that was
uh,
cute.
yeah, it was cute, but and it sold a lot because it's targeted to them. You know, but they're not buying that kind of stuff. Like, but mostly Twitter is for, I think, branding. Like, if you want to just build who is, Jung, like
Yeah,
who's the man behind the business, you know,
yeah.
they find out on
I am
Twitter.
starting to get that. And also I think I that this is why I do that 20% crazy stuff is because I went into Twitter and then basically over the last 1 month, the tweaks that we did worked much better than the ones that we did before.
So, if you're going to describe a 5-star experience, what would it be?
5-star experience, I guess, would be it's just something that works in the background that you know, so you don't have to think about it until you need it.
So it's like
So
it's reliable, like you
reliable,
can
yeah,
you can count on it.
yeah.
Okay, what about a 6-star experience?
6-star experience. Wow.
What?
So it's a management experience in some ways. Like
Can you
everybody
expand?
else's things are also logged without you having to track, like kind of bite down their necks as
Okay,
well. Yeah.
so 5-star experience, it's reliable. Like you can count on it to kind of auto-log the stuff.
Mhm.
6-star experiences that kind of propagates up to the manager view, and he's kind of or she's kind of like, oh, I'm kind of confident with this information.
It's the organization level experience. So
Yeah. And then what about a 7-star experience?
wow, maybe I started too strong with the 5-star. I didn't know there will be 7 stars. Normally it ends at 7 stars, you know?
Yeah, yeah. What is
Yeah.
what is a 7 star?
I mean, I think if it goes to 7, 8, 9, 10, then it will be talking more about the future phases, I think.
Hit me.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
So like a 7-star experience would be that your decisions, you can make decisions like instantly, right? With the data that is actually reliable because they are in there. So you don't have any doubts about missing or duplicate information. So you can make decisions any point of time with confidence.
I like it.
And then we help you make those decisions as well.
I like it. So there's like an intelligence aspect to it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna hit you with the 8-star experience just to
Yeah,
see where your
I
mind
know.
goes.
Yeah. And then there will be, I guess the 8-star experience would be the automation of some of the tasks that is more outward facing. So it actually
Okay,
starts helping you make more business.
but you said you want to like kind of take a stand against that. You don't want to like, or it's like the templates it generates and all that, like that kind of stuff.
Yep. Yeah. Because actually, if you think about it, like, I mean, that's why I've been like kind of having these conversations related to like what's stopping you from sending that kind of cold email right now, kind of question in Twitter a lot. And then most people actually don't like replying to it, but then they DM me,
Mhm.
ask me about stuff, and I ask them the same questions. And then it's just like, I just don't know what to write
Mm,
because it's embarrassing or they're just kind of uncomfortable.
mm.
sending a sales email to stranger, basically. But this part, I mean, one of the things I know is you can delegate this part of guilt or embarrassment or these kind of emotions to machines
Mm,
a lot. So us actually, so the reason why I said like I don't really believe in AI BDR is not because I don't believe in the technology, it's just the way they are building it. They build it as these kind of standalone system that kind of has like a very shallow level of lead enrichment. So like the emails maybe or the like the sequences that they send out is based on things like industry, size, like
mm,
current tech stack and stuff like that, right? But then, I mean, how much quality of a lead are you generating with this level of categorical data?
yeah.
I think in order for you to build like because for me the sales is very simple. You build relationship, you give them a value, and then you ask for a value back.
Mm,
That's all it is.
yeah.
So you build trust, and then you try to empathize and try to understand their problem, and then you try to solve it together with them so that they also trust you to actually help them. Then you give them this solution that you actually is a little bit more expensive or higher value than this. So you do this. So in that perspective, I don't believe in just kind of mass scale, like sending out emails without understanding their problem. So, like for us, what we are trying to do is to actually mind the conversations we had before, and
Mm,
then help them draft like a trap template, kind of pinpointing to these problems. And then, I mean, the thing is, when you even if you're the best salesperson, you won't be able to remember everything because if you're a best salesperson, you'll be talking to a lot of people at the same time.
mm,
So there might be some like token that you could use in the previous conversation you had that will just seal the deal now,
mm,
but you might be missing it or you might
mm.
not be remembering it. But guess who's very good at remembering things? Computers.
Computers, yeah.
Yeah. So it's all about just extracting that out and then using it into a template so that they will actually read the draft and then they'll be like, oh shit, yeah, they talked about that before. Why didn't I think about that?
Yeah,
Is the level that we want to get. So that will be the 8-star experience.
I love it. And then
Yeah.
if you're gonna think about you like if you had like a board of advisors, right? And
Mm,
they're gonna help you scale clipping. And
mm.
you can have anybody, like fictional characters, dead people. Who would you what does that board look like and what would they serve? Like what purpose would they serve?
Board of director. Oh, I haven't thought about this yet. I do need them.
Yeah, but imagine you can have anybody, and they're even fictional characters. Like you can have Batman if you want. As an- as
Wayne,
a- yeah, Bruce Wayne can show up to your board.
I think that this, I guess, I'll just talk about the people that I am like kind of closely monitoring as I go these days.
Okay.
Uh, I think it is the previous CEO of YC, Michael Seibel.
Yeah.
I like the mental models that he proposes. So that will be one person. Um, in terms of so that person's role would be on sort of giving me a better mental model to assess the situation as it goes because scaling is great and then I guess most people will talk about this person is going to help me with marketing and stuff like that but my view of scaling is actually how am I going to build an operation that can absorb this growth because that's how you die. You
Yeah.
scale too fast and die. So that will be one person. um I think another person I had it in my head just now and then I forgot. Oh, it's definitely not Elon Musk. It's too
Okay.
unstable. Too
Yeah.
unstable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm, I guess a person that can help us with kind of a public facing image would be great.
Okay.
Uh, but I can't really think of anyone right now. But
Whose
if
publicity do you like?
I don't like anyone.
Like, there's no
Uh,
company you see the publicity and you're like, they're crushing it.
like the company,
Yeah.
I think, mm, what company would that be? I mean, Samsung's pretty decent in general,
Yeah.
pretty standard, very professional. Um, I don't want to be overly friendly.
Mm.
Uh, I think being friendly is good, but then I don't believe in being friendly. I need to be helpful.
Yeah. You need to
Uh,
be cool, really.
um,
That's something like for me when you said PR, my mind always goes to Anna Wintour, and
mm,
she's Anna Wintour. You work with fashion industry stuff, but she crushes it. Like she does the Met Gala and she does Vogue magazine, and
it's pretty cool.
it is super cool. Like everybody talks about the Met Gala
Yeah,
and like Vogue and the photo shoots and the whole thing. It's so
yeah, she is. It is
she's
actually.
she's she's a genius.
I mean, in a business world, I guess like a public figure in a business world that I like would be like Mark Cuban.
Yeah, he does
I
a good
like
job too.
the way he deals with things as well. I think he's very is the rare breed of likable business person.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's actually very rare. In terms of just scaling and like a very proven operational design is actually Amazon for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I do like multidiscipline companies. Like if you're IT and then you just stay in IT is kind of boring. Like what can you do with that IT expertise to do something else, for example?
Yeah.
So they're very good at that. So that would be um one guy as well. Why can't I remember his name? The bald guy, the CEO.
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
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 Jeff Amazon.
Amazon guy.
Amazon guy. Is he? I don't think
He had a little bit of
he's
heroin and
offended. Yeah.
started and he lost all of it.
Yeah. 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 I don't think he'll be offended if you call him the Amazon guy.
Oh, he is the Amazon guy.
Yeah, he's definitely the Amazon guy.
I at least I
Um,
didn't call him the Blue Origin guy.
yeah, that blue guy.
That would offend him.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
If you're gonna think about like this kind of super villain, right? And they're
Mm.
like better than you. Like it's you. It's Junk, super villain Junk, who's like 100 times better than you,
Uh-huh.
right? What are they 100 times better than you at? What is that thing?
So that actually reveals the biggest weakness I have as well, no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what is it? What is that guy?
I think probably hmm, I think that probably would be actually that's most likely going to be a ability to communicate. Like
Oh, he's a
basically
super communicator.
a super communicative there. He can easily make people like them, like him. You know, it's not my biggest feat.
Yeah.
You know.
And then
I know how to make people hate me very quickly though.
no,
I know exactly what to say. Yeah.
you're a lovable guy, bro. What is one thing you can focus on in the next 10 years that will
Mm.
make you better than this guy?
In the next 10 years. Actually, it actually comes back to communications again. I think I need to write more. Yeah.
I
I
love
think I spent too much time writing computer language.
it. You need to write people language more. I like it.
No, I think that I've been working on this over the like since 3 years ago. I've been journaling. So it's actually like after I had that whole fiasco of going through bankruptcy and stuff, so like there was a huge effort for me to rebalance my life.
Mhm.
because it was obviously very unhealthy for both my body and mind. And then basically like I think midway through it I had a facial palsy. So my whole right side of my face got paralyzed just out of
Wow.
nowhere.
Just
It
from
was a
the stress?
brain malfunction. Yeah, it was a brain malfunction from
Yeah.
stress.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then it took me a lot of effort to actually reconstruct it back.
Wow.
Like so, well, the nerves were re-healed, but then that actually detrimented my whole muscular strength on my face.
Yeah, yeah.
So I had to rehab to actually rebuild it back, which actually made it symmetric, which is nice actually, because I had a very
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
asymmetric.
And you have a great smile.
Yeah,
Like when you smile,
yeah,
it's like super strong
because
and
I
it's
had to
great.
smile in the
Yeah.
rehab.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to force myself to smile,
That's
so
so
I
cool.
got that back as well, which is actually a good thing.
Yeah.
Uh, But around that time, it was just such a frustrating environment. I mean, it was way more frustrating than like not having money or being in debt. Like it's like my face is like I can't move my own face.
Yeah, wow.
So around that time, I started kind of going deep into more stoic practices, and then stoic practices comes with journaling. So journaling actually helped me write things a little bit more clearly because I'm just talking to myself, so I can write whatever in there.
Mhm.
And then I read it, and then I'm like, oh, you're. And then one day I was just like, your writing is fucking horrible. And then I just improve it a little bit. But I think writing actually helps me in a way that because now I am back to doing my own business, meaning I need to explain my offer. And then you can obviously see there was a lot of improvement just over the last like 1.5 month because I keep trying and then I keep trying to write something on Twitter and then I can see the benefit of it
Yeah, it
because I'm
is
like
the
three to
best.
five a day. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's the
by
best
just
part.
doing it,
That's yeah.
yeah, that
Yeah,
is the
that's
best part.
yeah, the best part of Twitter, exactly. Oh my God. Yeah, the best part of Twitter is that like the reason I started on Twitter is that reason alone. Is just I wanted to write better.
Mm,
And my goal is to just be a better writer,
mm.
by testing out my writing every day, multiple times a day, and see, so that's awesome, bro. And you just journal, uh like that's kind of the next step for you, is to kind of write more publicly and try
Yeah, I
to.
think the journal is going into the public now.
Yeah,
So I am sharing what is on my mind
yeah,
to the public, which obviously has is having a lot of fluctuation these days. And then, I mean, I had some like helps from both Janu and Churning, but then, and then I think their style works, but then that's not me. So that I need to find my own voice. So that's
100%.
actually the process I'm going through right now. And then, like while this discussion, I realized that I should be talking more about systems because that's what I'm interested in and I'm enthusiastic about. And that's probably what people don't look at a lot of the times
Yeah, no,
as they
100%.
look at the
You
goal, but then yeah, so I think I should be doing that more. So I was actually thinking about it just now as well.
amazing. Yeah, it's great, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's kind of what where your personality shines, right? Is when you talk about the things you like in the
yeah,
way that you learned them and express them to yourself in the most simplest way, right? Because you want to strengthen that voice, like, because everything has been said the way they've been said. The new things can only be said in your unique voice, because that's the only thing that
yeah,
is new. Like,
yeah,
I am new to this world. My voice is new to this world. That's the only thing that I can know for a fact, that it can be a new contribution. Everything else can be manufactured, artificial, or whatever. You want to find your voice, and that's where learning the principles of writing and all of that, because you learn the principles, understand how they work, and then use them to
yeah.
amplify that, unique part of.
It's gonna be a long journey trying to pack system into 280 characters. Damn,
Yeah,
it's gonna
and
be
it's the way
it'll be
I'm
fun.
doing it. Yeah, the way I'm doing it is doing one long form piece a week,
Hmm.
in a newsletter. So, you do the short form to kind of put in reps at writing, but then you kind of use all of those, what you've learned in those repetitions in a long form that, you know, connects with the people who who want that information. And what's nice about having all your long forms in a newsletter, like if you check out my newsletter in Beehive, is it doesn't need to connect now because they're kind of evergreen content, you know. And if once you reach a certain point, you can like resurface them, or you can like if same thing with the relationship thing, right? Like if you make a relationship 5 years from now and they want to see like, hey, who's Jung? And they go to your newsletter and read your long pieces, they're now like, you know, connecting at a deeper level. So that's great. Um,
Interesting. Yeah.
okay, we're nearing the end. So do you know Spartacus?
Yeah.
Have you seen the original movie, the old one?
No, I only saw the This Is Sparta guy.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know the guy. No, the Gladiator. Shit.
yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
Spartacus is the Gladiator. Yeah, the old,
Yeah,
like a new
Spartacus
one.
is, yeah, the new one is good too. But in the old one, there's a scene where, so Spartacus, the story is about Spartacus is he's a gladiator, and the gladiators are slaves, really. And he raises this army of gladiator slaves, and they kind of free themselves. And you know, he stands for freedom. And in the ending scene, the Romans capture the army, and they're like, "Who is Spartacus?" You know, and if you reveal Spartacus, we will spare the lives of everybody else. So one person in the army steps out and is like, I am Spartacus. And he's not Spartacus, but he kind of takes that sacrifice. I am Spartacus. And then another person steps out and he's like, I am Spartacus. And then the whole army kind of is like, I am Spartacus, you know? It's a very powerful scene. I love it, you know? If you're going to imagine yourself, right? You are Spartacus, John, right? You know, you're representing this movement. What is that thing that you're standing for that is going to ignite this similar kind of passion in, you know, the people following your movement or following this idea?
Hmm. I think I sort of talked about it during the workshop at some point. Um, I think it's just that kind of uh, I guess the freedom from the commercial system in general, the way we're being bred. I want to, I mean, the thing that it's like the reason why I don't like talking about this is because in order to get there, I need to make that system as well, you know? Because I need to hire people to do work to actually be able to grow into a point where I can do this. But I will be doing my best to actually implement our own principles in our company to have as little of this as possible. So we will
Mhm.
try to automate a lot of things, and then we will systemize a lot of things. But in general, it's kind of like this false belief that you are taught that if you work hard, you will be well off needs to go away because it's not true. And but then you can't just tell people, oh, you won't be happy if you work hard. We need to give them the tools to survive as well. So that's what I'm trying to do as well. Like own your own business and own your own life. And that if you are willing to do it, then I will give you the tools, basically. So that's mostly what I am working on, that whole kind of guilt trap that the system sets up to make you
Which
feel
is
like you're
like
not
this
worth
this kind of automated repetitive work is something that is not supposed to be human. And what is supposed to
most
be
jobs in
human?
general.
What?
Most jobs in general.
Yeah, and what is the ideal? What is the like that's kind of the pain point, right? What is
Yeah,
what is the solution or the idea? What is,
that's actually more the philosophical way because if everybody is working for themselves, then there's no society anymore, right? So
but
there is a balance.
exactly. So what is that exchange? What is the what should be the contribution of man,
Hmm.
and instead of being a cog in the machine?
I think they should at least be be aware that there is another path that they can try, and then there should be ample amount of opportunities given to these people to try. until they figured out that they're not for them, and then you can just get a job. But that's the thing. Like when I went bankrupt, I just got a job as well,
Mhm.
and then
So there's
that
this
was it.
economic machine, but business is part of the economic machine still.
Yeah. So it's more of the way that it's like you see. I think the recent generations are changing this a lot as well. But then like back then, like if you say if you told your parents that you're going to be a YouTuber, uh, they firmly believe that that is not a right thing to do.
Mhm.
It is a guilt trap.
Mhm.
It's a gigantic guilt trap, right? So, and then some people still believe in this, and then they are basically for me, it's more like I wish more people knew that they could also try other stuffs. That's I think that is the thing that I want to do. It's not about like, okay, just leave your job, everybody leave your job and do your own thing. That's stupid. That
Yeah,
is very anarchistic. But it's more about like I think a lot of people just are told so many times brainwashed to a point like it's okay, your job life is just about getting a job, like go to college, get a job, get married, raise kids, and die. I mean, I don't want people to think this is life, basically.
I get it. So you're saying the 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 idea that I'm willing to
Mm.
stand for in life is kind of this
One more choice.
programming, the
Yeah.
programming that we have, generational programming of this is the path a
Mm.
human being should take. You want to kind of break that, and we want to say, hey, guess what? Life, it's more
Mm.
varied than you think originally. There's so many possibilities, and you should have the right to explore all these possibilities and participate however way you
You
can
want.
crack it. Like you, it's kind of like you learn. It's like what you're doing basically. Like you learn
Mm.
life and apply the principles however you like. There's no right way of applying them.
If I probably put in a different visual perspective,
Yeah.
I talked about like guilt trapping, but it's also the way society kind of hoards the crowd is
Hmm.
by setting a very high barrier of entry to other things as well.
Hmm.
So by having a like really tall wall like next to
Hmm.
you, the only way is forward, right? The
Hmm.
road that is paved for you. So if in that perspective, it's better visual presentation is to lower these walls. That's what I'm trying to do.
Hmm.
I'm trying to break part of this wall so there are more cracks that people can see through so that there is something out there. Because like there was this kind of like in Asia, basically we call this a frog inside a well.
Hmm.
So frog inside the well just thinks that that water is the whole world,
Mm. Okay.
right? So my job is not about taking the frog out of that well and putting it outside because it's probably going to get killed immediately because it doesn't know how to live out there, right?
Yeah.
But then my role is to actually put like let's say like I put like one stick in there that
Mm.
leads outside of the well. You can try climbing it out of there.
Hmm.
By
Or
climbing,
even I like
yeah,
the frog in the well. It's kind of creating like a porthole, so
yeah,
that you can even see there's life outside this well.
out there. Yeah.
I like this because that's the kind of the next question, which is why would anyone wear a hat with your logo on it? And I'm imagining a hat with the frog in the well logo, because I love that visual, you know.
It's actually a vision that I inherited from my own dad, so that's why it's so strong as well.
Yeah.
That's why I've been around though, like so many places as well, because my dad basically was like, I work so hard to push you out of this country
Uh-huh.
so that you can see there is a larger world because I
Yeah.
couldn't do it. So then my role now is like, okay, then can I do it for more people?
Amazing.
Basically,
Yeah, it's just like show the world to people. I love it. Okay,
yeah.
describe why Clippy is the best option in 10 words.
Why it's the best option?
Yeah.
Because I guess you have one less thing to worry about.
That's the complete description from beginning to end. I know nothing about Clippy and I'm looking for CRMs. You
Oh,
come to
okay.
me and you say, hey, you should try Clippy. Why?
Hmm. Okay, there's a mundane one is uh hmm 10 words as well, right?
Hey, give or take.
Yeah. The people in this area, for them, I guess I would say because you need a solution that works for you, not you working for it.
Okay. I like it. What came to me is that uh, you can start the conversation with, if I looked at your CRM, would it be up to date with all the interactions, all the customer interactions? And based on
Yep.
that, yeah, based on that answer, you could kind of be like, because if it's no, it's not up to date with all the interactions across all the teams. You can be like, with Clippy, you will never have that because it's
Hmm.
all automated, right? Um, all
That's
right.
good. So goes into my A/B testing.
And now for you, you said you want to be all about systems. Is that going to be your bad signal from now on? Like if there's how like Batman, if there's
Hmm.
crime, someone,
I
is
think so. Yeah.
you're going to be like, this is how you automate a system, or like this is how you break down a system, or what is it?
It's more about building a system. It's understanding off and automating parts of it. Yeah.
Love it. Okay. Final question. Do you have the piece of paper again?
Sure. I need to
Same.
draw something.
You need to draw
Jesus.
something. Yeah. It's the same question. Imagine you achieved all your dreams. Draw your impact at that moment.
I think it's still the same though.
The
Because
impact,
by the
though.
time I
Draw your
finished
impact.
everything, I have automated so many things that I don't have to exist anymore.
But is that your impact on the world? It's not.
I think so. I mean, the thing is, I have a very morbid view of life in general.
Mhm.
Like it taps a little bit into religious area as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just my own belief is that I think life is the punishment you get. It's basically the hell is to be born.
Has to be born. Okay. I
It's
understand that.
actually like more like a very ancient Buddhist understanding as well. Like you are reincarnated, and then if you actually break that cycle, you don't have to be reborn.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually is very in that area. So that's why I also like you is ask me like if you achieve everything and then what would your life would be like is actually for me if I achieved everything that means I don't have any more things to learn then there's no reason for me to stay alive.
Then maybe think about it at peak.
At peak, how the world would might change because of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I guess it was confusing because if I try to figure out my life when I achieved,
Mhm.
I think there won't be one.
Okay. I like it. So
Yeah,
you've updated my workshop. Thank you. Because I kind of get what you're saying. You're saying there's no achieving all my dreams in my life. That's it kind of goes against your belief system that
yeah,
I'm gonna have the ability at one point to achieve all my dreams.
yeah.
Okay, so imagine you're at not achieved all your dreams, but imagine,
Peak impact.
yeah, your
Yeah,
life at peak impact. Let's put it that way.
yeah. What would that life look like, or the world would look like?
Yeah.
Huh? Just very far away. What do people draw for these? Damn.
You gotta watch other episodes.
Hmm. I
But now
should
you know
actually.
they're at the beginning and the end, so just go in the beginning and the end.
Yeah, because I put it on a like kind of fast forward and I put it on the background and I do other
Mhm.
stuff while I listen to
Yeah,
these
so you
like
you don't see it.
longer thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I think I never seen the photos actually,
yeah, yeah,
like the
yeah.
pictures. Hmm. 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 I'm very bad at drawing. Can I describe the image?
Show me the image and describe it. Yeah.
Because I drew another tree and then I don't know how to draw a house. So
Okay.
I'm very
Describe
bad
it.
at drawing.
Okay.
I think
Draw.
it actually got upgraded a little bit
Okay.
because it's still the tree,
Mhm.
but then it's not necessarily a coconut tree anymore. And then I think I'm actually imagining a world where people don't have to live in a city anymore because life is digitized. Life is a lot of systemizing things. You don't have to be in the workspace to do a lot of things. There's no reason for people to be packed into these kind of bird cage. Like Hong Kong's the extreme example of it,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, coffin housing. That's a new one for
I
me.
don't, I mean, actually, I was thinking about it right now. Like, so I am trying to do this so that people can have other opportunities, blah, 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 blah. What does it actually entail? Is basically, we're also animals. We should be with nature, but then this city has zero nature.
Mhm.
We're basically here because we need to make money. We need to labor. So I'm imagining just like I was just looking out and then I realized that how happy would these people be if they were able to live a life and then like have good offsprings to and have good education without having to live here. I think that would be a great world.
Nice.
Yeah. I constantly have this question to myself as well. It's like, are we're so abundant and we don't have to worry about food anymore, but are we really happier than before with this abundance?
Thanks.
I
I
mean,
think
there's
some
a lot
people.
of different, yeah, philosophical part is like, are we happy with pleasure or are we happier with pain?
It's kind of too binary to look at it that way. Life is
Yeah,
so colorful. Like I think definitely there's like I'm talking to you, right? Like that's
the
something
joy.
that, yeah, Joe, I could never do this before. Like you're stuck, like before the internet, before you're stuck in your village, and if you lived in a village of idiots, you're kind of hanging out with idiots for the rest of your life. You know,
Yeah.
and it makes it so that you don't need to travel to meet interesting people. So that's great. But definitely the cities is something that is.
Overabundance also another problem, I think, as
it,
well. Because
uh,
it creates this void.
yeah,
It's really hard to appreciate sometimes anymore.
I agree, and it's what you can buy sometimes messes things up, right? Because like a lot of people, like you're saying, buy labor. They buy people to use them as resources. And when you have too much money and you do that,
For
you're
everything.
kind of missing out on a lot of life. Like you're not cleaning your own house. You're not, taking care of your own kids. You're
Yeah.
not, being, you're not listening to your wife because you've hired a therapist. You're not, like all of these things, you know, you need to do as a person. I think money should be purely for luxuries. Like fancy cars. You want to go to
I
like the
guess
four
it's the easy
seasons.
way out. Easy way out is actually very addictive.
Yes.
And we all want easy way out. I mean, that's why businesses exist.
Mm.
Business is all about easy way out.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's very
so
philosophical. Yeah, I agree.
I think it's just the way we I mean, if I have to, so there's no such thing as perfect system. So I still believe in capitalism way
Yeah,
more
I agree with
the
you.
systems before. I mean, for me coming from just a merchant's family. Like my grandpa basically had a business. His whole family got blown up during Korean War. He came back from school and there was no family. He
Wow.
just had his own brother. He
Yeah.
was 9 years old.
Yeah. Amazing.
And then he built a like a pretty decently large kind of construction conglomerate in Korea.
Hmm.
That's how our family started.
Hmm.
And then my dad did a logistics company, trading in between US and China
Yeah.
from Korea. And then now I'm doing IT, right? So we've been kind of progressing over the generations like this. Um, I think in general, I just look at them and then their life. They must have gone through a lot of hardship themselves, but then they were very happy doing this. So
Hmm.
that's actually, I think it in a singular point is like, I know the joy of building large systems. Business is a system,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah. 100%.
Like using system to make your life easier, you know. I mean, because you don't have to labor 9 to 5 to survive anymore. You can just do 2 to 3 hours of power work, and then you can have freedom to. It's more about choice, I think. Is you have choice to what to do with your time,
Hmm.
right? So because basically labor income is just trading your time for cash, right?
Yeah.
So I want people to know that this is an option. I think it's very, very straightforward, aligned value for me is it's possible. Even I can do it. So everybody can do it. Kind of thing.